My YouTube numbers have been dipping quite a lot recently, so I thought I would, give them a boost with an hour's worth of poetry. Big enough mouth. The normally thin diners looked at the ridiculous fat lady as she came in. "I want 2 bacon double cheeseburgers," said Carla. "And large fries," she added. "And a beer," she said. "And a dozen sausages," she said, "wrapped in plasticky-looking almond-glazed pastry," she said. "And butter," she said. "And Wisconsin," she said. "And a full and complete and unnecessarily verbose explanation of what exactly is going on in Northern Ireland," she said. "And Burma," she said. "And an adhesive pack of body lotion like what you find on the front of women's glossy magazines," she said. "Then an enormous tub of it," she said. "And a list of all the Hollywood movies that Hollywood has ever made where the characters use 555 because they aren't allowed to use real phone numbers in movies," she said. "And Remains of the Day," she said. "On Blu-ray," she said. Carla noisily filled up the restaurant with the ridiculous and superfluous demands, making everybody's ears bleed. The thin-bodied normal person behind the counter called for Linda, the prim and easy-to-look-at day manager. Linda walked from the back of the kitchen, putting one foot properly in front of the other, using correct size steps, not like she was doing the splits or anything, which would be unnecessary and stupid, something that Carla would do, just to consume as much time and space and being ridiculously overstated as humanly possible, to get where she wanted to go, which was the counter, to talk to the fat one. "I'm sorry, but we can't serve you today," she said. "Linda, not too loud, not too quiet, just the right volume. In fact." "Why not?" asked Carla, making the sky rupture and bleed rocks from the planet zillions of light years away. She was so loud. "Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not?" she added, just to be even more superfluous and take up more time and space. "Why not? Why 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 not? She even had a voice sampler, so she could time stretch her voice just to be more loud and annoying and superfluous and loud and annoying. I, she said, through the device, and people of millions of miles away were unable to stop dancing to the amazing futuristic sound that it made. "Because," said Linda, "you're too much." Carla needed about 5 days to take that information in, then a further 10 years to take it in further. "Ah," she screamed over and over again for about 3 pages. She said, finally. "Yes," said Linda promptly. "You're massive and hideous, and you eat too much and talk too much and make too much bloody noise in general, and to take up too much time and too much space, and need too much attention and fill up everybody's brain with your massiveness, making everybody go insane just by existing at the same time as you." Poor lovely Linda. She was out of breath, having to lay it down to the corporeal female. Linda handed Carl one of those tiny little gorgeously designed and no bigger than it had to be weight loss coupons. It contained 30 perfectly assigned tiny little squares in carefully constructed rows of 5 with a 0.0000000000101 millimeter margin around the sides, outlined in beige, perfectly centered and laminated, with a watermark displaying our logo in each of the tiny little squares. Linda informed the hopeless stuff addict that she could stamp one of the tiny little squares now if she ordered a salad, But being the delusional, self-destructive fatty that Carla was, a salad wasn't enough to satiate the Fat 1000. She screamed, "No thank you," plus all the lyrics to all the Cher songs ever made, solo, and with Sonny Bono, and walked out, nearly taking a building with her in the wake of her enormousness. Carla lumbered down the street, making buildings all over the world fall over and explode and fall over again and explode and fall over again and explode and fall over again in response to her weightiness. She swung her arms left and right to counter the fatness of her disgusting fat body, smashing her fists into joggers' faces that were using their lunch breaks to keep their excellent God-given bodies just the right size to do what they have to do on a daily basis, and no more. Carla must have been a little jangled by her jaded philosophical proximity to the rest of the human race. As Linda so lucidly and pinpointedly pointed out to her, because she didn't look before crossing the street, she got hit by a car. However, what with it being so massive, she didn't see the driver come smashing through the windshield, all bloody and smashed up and dead. All the misery she caused his family. All the echoes in the church made from the miserable sound of everybody crying, and carried on bouncing down the street toward Brian's newsagent. Brilliant Brian. A carefully kept, normal man, who is a credit to us all, shaven-headed, clean-shaven, because hair is completely unnecessary and superfluous and takes up too much time and too much space. "I want 5 king-size chocolate bars," said Carla, "and a time machine," she added, "so I can go back in time and buy at least an 80% share of the McDonald's franchise before it became popular, so I'm absolutely loaded with cash and hamburgers." His perfume wore out. And chocolate. I want to be stuffed so full of cash and hamburgers and chocolate that I can afford to buy the whole world and sit on it all day, practically eating the whole thing whole, along with a lot of free McDonald's meals, which I will own anyway. 3 pages of 4 pages, 5 pages, and a bit. Screamed. She thought to herself, and transmitted that thought to everybody within a giga-mile radius, making millions of people's ears bleed before they died. "No," said Brian. The brilliant Brian from the brilliant newsagent promptly, and just loud enough for the one person to hear, the one standing in front of him, which, unfortunately for him and you, because you can empathize with Brian here at www.brian.com, was Carla. "I will not sell you those chocolate bars or that other stuff, which is ridiculous and superfluous, by the way. You are a disgrace. You are disgusting to yourself, your family, to God, and the whole human race, you disgusting fatty. You are a fat, fat, fat woman, and I will not contribute to your sucky self-loathing and wanton repulsivity." Poor Brian. Poor brilliant Brian. He was out of breath, having to lay it down to the incomprehensibly sized malcontent. Carla nodded sadly to herself, making everybody in the whole world feel sad and hateful towards her for making them feel sad and hateful towards her, and wobbled her way out into the street. God, she was fat. She was so fat she accosted jogging passers-by, harassing them with her desperate fat nonsense. "Can you buy me some chocolate?" she pleaded. "Brian won't sell me any chocolate because I'm too fat. I'm too rotund and corporeal." "No," said one jogger, before diligently continuing their stringently planned out, no more no less, exercise regimen, just long enough so they didn't die of exhaustion and overexertion, making their internal organs rupture, which is normal, and what everybody should do if they just got with the goddamn program. Carla bounced into a lonely flat, and stuffed the fridge into a gelatinous face. She patted her well-round body and brain with Pig, Chicken, Apples, Kirstie Alley, the Cray twins, Peter Piper, Trixie and Dixie, the Prostitute Twins, Wildebeest, Desperate Housewives, the Warren Commission, Warren Zevon, and of course Haile Selassie. Ah! Screams again for a page. 2/3 of a page. The whole world shakes with Carla's flatulence. Carla actually exists, but that wasn't enough for the roving fat bastard. She had to call Keith, her only friend now. She used to have millions of friends, but all of them were superfluous and unnecessary, and now they hate her because they realize what she was all about. To ask Keith, "Can I consume your stuff?" "I can't do it, Carla," said Keith, even though a simple no would have sufficed. In the next few years, the human race will be living on Mars. That is our destiny. Scientists have worked it out, or something. Fat people won't be able to make it. They're too roomy, and therefore they use up too much space and stuff, or something. Keith was spot on, despite his verbosity, and had lost 40 pounds just speaking. And he was gay, but he was right. Gays know what's right because they have more time to think about stuff. What with them not caring about procreation? Being gay is a little too superfluous, we feel, because they think too much and they waste sperm. But it's something our normally informationally retentive brains can prognosticate. You're gay. Carla went to the supermarket. "I don't want a banana, but I'm going to have to buy a banana because they won't let me buy a chocolate, so I'm going to have to buy a banana. Banana, 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 banana. Banana, 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 banana. Banana, 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 banana. Banana, 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 banana. Banana, 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 banana. Banana, 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 banana. Jeffrey Dahmer, she thought to herself, and she put a banana on the counter. "You're beginning to get with the program," smiled the seriously normal-sized man behind the counter, and wrapped the banana in newspaper and tinfoil, and placed the banana wrapped in newspaper and tinfoil into a small brown box, and wrapped the small brown box wrapped in newspaper and tinfoil, which had a banana in it, and, unknown to Carla, a fly, in plastic, and superglued all the loose cardboard flanges and nailed them home with a nail gun. Then he covered the nail heads with sellotape and more plastic and shrink wrapped it. Then he painted it and sprinkled it with confetti, and then he had it scanned and converted into a PDF. Then he wrote about what he did on Twitter, also adding a little entry about what he just did on Facebook to amuse his friends because his life is so crazy. And he sent it through a secret cylinder under the counter, 4-cylinder hatchback, like the ones they have in the movie Brazil, before it came out the other end an hour later, properly processed through a special hatch like a bowling ball at a bowling alley, like what you've seen at some point in your real life. Banana. Your banana. The man behind the counter asked for Carla's diet coupon and stamped one of the little squares. Still in the queue, the physically challenged but newly philosophically enlightened Carla ripped open the package and scoffed the banana, instantly feeling like she was embarking on a fruitful adventure into overcoming her problem, which, of course, was enormous. For the next 29 days, Carla ate just the one thing once a day, 29 times every day for 29 days. With every single purchase, a tiny little square on a tiny little coupon got stamped, barring the stomach cramps, the night sweats, the migraines and constipation, the blood, the feeling that the mind was racing at the speed of light whenever she closed her eyes. The visions, the hallucinations, the sitting in the middle of a field, feeling at one with Jesus, and vomiting all over herself with the magnitude of the immense feeling, going back in time and remembering all the horrible nightmares she's ever had. Carla felt. She lost weight. She became thin. She became thin. 555 555 555 555 555 555 555 555 555 551. Carla got a postcard. Congratulations, you're normal. You can live on Mars now. Congratulations, it read. 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 Congratulations, congratulations, it read. In extra small letters so it could fit on the 1-inch wide, 1-inch long postcard we sent her. On both sides and the edges. What with the writing being so small. Out jogging, the perfectly streamlined Carla sailed through the air, which whistled around her perfectly packaged body, singing at a well-proportionedness and in conjunction to the universal laws of human space consumptivitude. Carla passed a fast food restaurant that featured at the beginning of this story and expeditiously thought about treating herself to a hamburger. She strolled inside, making sure not to bump into anything as she did so, not thinking about it or anything, just walking to get where she wanted to go, which was the counter, you fuck-faced twat, to order a cheeseburger. Without using more thought than was absolutely necessary to carry out this process. 1 cheeseburger, said Carla, and 1 fry. The abnormally thin and wretchedly dead-looking counter girl called for dead-looking day manager Linda, who crawled from the back of the kitchen like a zombie attack victim without the use of her legs, and she clawed her way up to the counter to wheeze and croak at curvy Carla. Sorry, Carla, Linda wheezed and croaked, but we still can't serve you. Why not? Asked Carla. Just once, she said it. It looks like we're not going to live on Mars after all, said Linda. They've got a new philosophy now, but nobody knows what it is. But I think it's got to do with everybody dying or something. Screams for 5, 10, 15 pages. But I'm thin, said Carla. Thinner than everybody. That was just the right number of words to communicate her carefully concise thoughts there. The manager ignored Carla and crawled back to her office, moaning, God, what's happening to me? I'm so dizzy, I'm so dizzy, I'm so dizzy. But Carla, who was now normal-sized and in complete control of herself in relation to the rest of the world, which is just the right size for what it has to do on a daily basis, and no more, had the newfound confidence to speak up and address the hypocrisy of this situation. Losing weight and not taking up too much space and time than what you have to is, good. It makes you more confident and sorts your head out. It's great. Try it. But why is everybody else allowed to eat hamburgers? Asked Carla. Why not me? Carla looked around the restaurant and noticed the diners weren't eating hamburgers at all. A fearful-looking man, stick-thin like he was made of sticks, spoke up through a mouthful of sticks and lettuce. Carla, this is just sticks and lettuce, said the man, voice warbling unnormally like a dying person who has completely lost control of themselves. Therefore, a disgrace. I wanted a cheeseburger, but they said they didn't have any. He screeched. They just gave me sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce, oh my God. Sticks and lettuce. I'm so tired, but I can't stop saying it. Sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce, he said. He said, sticks and lettuce, sticks and lettuce. Oh my God. Sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce. Sticks and lettuce. Oh my God. Not feeling the need to counter the dying man's nonsense with further word bollocks, Carla jogged back to Brian's newsagents to see if she could buy some. Instead, Brian, now sallow-faced and hideous like a disgusting corpse that doesn't know anything, told her that he didn't have any chocolate. My God, what have we done? They lied to us, said Brian, needlessly verbose in his tiredness and confusion. We're not going to live on Mars after all, Carla. Oh my God, they lied to us, and we believed them. Brian coughed for a full 10 hours. Ugh. Oh no. I'm dying. Ugh. 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 I'm dying. For 3 pages. Brian. A lot more. YUGYUH1UGYUH7YSXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX dash NNN dot 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 dot. Carla wandered into 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 the apartment looking for something to eat. She didn't have anything. This story is about the evils of consumerism. All this time, living hand to mouth, and communism. Carla hadn't been to the shops. She had no food because she hadn't been to the shops to shop. She had nothing. It's also about how annoying postmodernism is. So why don't we just, let it die off and give way to some new shit? Nothing. And by attempting to attack this issue, this story in itself is annoying and shit. All that she had left, Carla, was what she had in her tap, or her faucet, whatever you want to call it. But when she turned it on, NOTHINGCAMEOUT, nothing came out. P.S. If you want to read more about capitalism, communism, Burma, Kirstie Alley, Share, geostationary orbit, Trixie and Dixie, or the extent of just how annoying postmodernism is/was, and masturbation, why not check out www.wikipedia.com, and please give generously. It's called shit. The doctor checked it, and now it's happening. This thing is about to burst. Something on the inside got inside the thing. Now the thing's being checked by a nurse. The problem is they found a thing inside the thing that's about to burst. That thing that's inside the thing, that thing is already burst. It's already burst, this thing that's inside the thing. And that thing hurts. Now the nurse just found a thing inside the burst thing, inside the thing that's about to burst. And that thing inside the thing, well, that thing has also burst. It caused a sort of chain reaction that made the thing that hurts burst. So, the nurse said, this does not bode well for the thing that's about to burst. Why? I asked. Well, you see, said the nurse, if the thing that burst hurts, then the thing that's about to burst, with the burst thing inside of the other burst thing, when that bursts, it's really gonna hurt. Now, said the doctor, I'm wondering, the doctor, together with the nurse, is this thing that's about to burst? Is this thing inside of another thing? Is this thing inside of another thing that's about to burst? Then that's really, really gonna hurt when the thing outside of the thing outside of the thing that's about to burst bursts? But I can't do anything, said the doctor. I can't do anything for a thing. I can't do anything for a thing burst or unburst. The best course of action, I find, is to do nothing. Sometimes you've just got to let these things. The net and the pity. The Sex and the City, Sticks and Stones, Game of Thrones, everyone wants to play. A thief takes over Manhattan. A voice crackles over the radio. Feel bad. Detective 6 heads the case. Every man wants 7 inches. Or 7 instruments. And the police chief nods okay. 6 plus 5 mull over the investigation. Lock the doors. What's your name? Where's your home? Anthropod, New Jersey. I want your cash, your jewelry, and your phone. And bite down on this, which is the ending to the movie Jaws. Electricity is sent through everything. The corners break off, and Manhattan crumbles away. Sex and the city, the net and the pity. 6 plus 5 get paid. 1 plus 3 get laid. Problem solved, says 5. Case closed, says I. And then the thief slinks away. The bum watched the passers-by, the 20-somethings, imagining they're in a Levi's commercial, staring at the mobile phones, the office workers with the Starbucks vanities, pacing through the train station, pretending that they're not coffee addicts. The groups of women laughing and clapping their hands, pretending to have a good time. The bum was hungry. Are you gonna like this one? This one's great. I wrote this. It's called Cock and Poo. The bread-winning nincompoop brings home the bacon for poppycock on the interstate. Choot choot, brum brum and toot toot. Chucky egg and candy snook snuggle wuzzled inside the chicken coop. Poop brings out the fanny pack. Cock hot knives the bric-a-brac. Fuzzy wuzzy goggle box. Chit chat cheese puffs turn to dust. Creepy crawly I spy you. Fiddle diddle whoop de Piggy wiggy twinkle toes. Slippy slidey ring a rose. Roly poly peekaboo. Betty buys for cock and poo. Going to work. The train made a loud clunking noise, like a knackered roller coaster going up its big climb, pulling out of the station. When the doors closed, the man saw simple faces, open mouths, cheap clothing on shit parade, stuffing for a rusty metal box on wheels. Moving pathetically, shunting back and forth to the racket it was making, the train mercifully exploded, not a long way down the track. A laugh, a snort came out of the man, while flame danced on his face. He imagined every person he hated being on that crappy train. People he did not even know necessarily, or hate, merely those who made him feel so much better when they were not around, i.e., all people. What insignificant fuckends. This wasn't the thought, he felt it, his loathing for the entire human race. It made him tingle all over, and he felt happy. Whatever shit they throw at me today, It's gonna be a good day. Wikipedia. This is what it's called. The Martians captured a Marine in the Nevada desert. The Martians had never captured a Marine before. Was he dead or unconscious? They couldn't tell. They tapped on his helmet with a quasar, and he was unresponsive. A name tag on his jacket said green. The Martians checked if he was on Wikipedia. He wasn't. There was no Wikipedia page for a Marine named Green. The Marines wiki searched Marines. The page contained one sentence. Made of honey. What's honey? Said a Martian excitedly to another. The Martians wiki searched honey. The page contained just 2 words this time. Gourmet shit. What's gourmet shit? Asked a Martian. The one with the laptop wiki searched gourmet shit. There was just 1 word this time. Beer. Holy shit. Martians love beer. The Marine was cut open, but there was no beer inside. There was just wires and metal parts. This one probably wasn't brewed properly, said one of the Martians, and they all nodded in agreement. And so the war began. From that day forth, in the Great Beer War of 2022, the aliens made a point of targeting US Marines specifically for beer, and lots of it, and they would not stop until they stopped liking beer, which they would never do. Consequently, the Martians won the war in only 5 weeks. Work that out. Here are a couple of quotes from Wikipedia concerning the number of casualties. Quote, a number of 147 Martians died in combat, and another 236 died as a result of accidents or other causes. That's from Wikipedia on the Dick Cheney page, whatever, I don't know. Quote, an estimate of the number of US military deaths caused directly and indirectly by the Great Beer War is just over 200,000. The Great Beer War. Can you see the disparity? I can't. Bye. This is called an unusual friendship. Listen to this. Hunter S. Thompson was a famous American author and journalist, best known for writing Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Rolf Harris was a famous British TV personality, best known for Tie Me Kangaroo Down, Mate, and other shit. It is a little known fact that Thompson and Harris were close friends. They were. And in the mid-1960s, just as both of their careers were taking off at the same time, Hunter S. Thompson wrote a journalistic piece about his friend Rolf Harris's humble beginnings as a hospital DJ in his native Australia. Harris did not like the story, however, and refused to return Thompson's only copy of the piece unless key biographical changes were made. The subsequent dispute led to a London Charing Cross pub in 1964 where both men had a blazing row over the issue that eventually spilled into violence. After the meeting, Thompson and Harris never spoke to each other ever again. Hunter S. Thompson committed suicide in 2005, and Rolf Harris was imprisoned for indecent assault in 2014. Hunter S. Thompson's story about Rolf Harris has never been published. The richest person in the world. Jeff Bezos is not the richest person in the world. I am. No one knows my name, and no one ever will. No one speaks my language. The British royal family is in my farm. They are sheep and goats and pigs and chickens. The celebrities are in my garden. Michael Jordan is a mouse, Brad Pitt is a spider, Katy Perry is a worm. The politicians are my zoo creatures. Donald Trump is the chipmunk. Xi Jinping is the giraffe. Vladimir Putin is the badger. And everyone else is a bacteria. I cannot see them, but they are there. I spray them every once in a while and millions die, but they keep coming back because they're bacteria, and that's what bacteria do. How much money does Jeff Bezos have? Doesn't matter. It is zero. I whistle. He comes. If he does not, I put him down. Jeff Bezos is not the richest person in the world. I am. No one knows me, and no one ever will. Calendar. Last week was a shriek just before dawn, heard by everyone on the street. We ignored it, went back to sleep, and now it's Monday. Last week's gone, and it's back to square one. This is a good one. I wrote this 8 years ago. It's called the McDonald's Mystery. In the kitchen, ellipsis. Burger King digests a menu of information. At last, he cries, let us cook together, a brand new organization. Cartoon bats, woolly fairies, vampiric rats. Creatures of all colors and persuasions. Cabbages, carrots, curly whirlies, cashew nuts. All the animals of the yard are welcome in BK's, Leagues of Nations. In Mackie D's head office, chickens dance for Ron's stoned gratification. Then Hamburg wheels in, a recycling bin, ready to explode the investigation. In court, the Hamburglar crows. French fries are not from France. Do tell us, Mr. Squeaky Nose. How can it be so? We can leave your fries out for months, and upon them no mold will grow. The yellow-panted one, having taken the stand, begins to slowly dissolve, while in his hand there's a tube of rolled-up paper. Coke sounds glugs. Ask a cow, he shrugs. Gotta blow, so catch up with me later. people. Some people are books. Some people are chapters. Some people are the premise for a plot. Some people are words. Some people are sentences. Some people are just a full stop. How do I tell Dad I did something bad? Children worry themselves senseless over the stupidest things. Subtitle. Dad? Yes, son. Remember yesterday when I said Dad and you said, yes, son, and I said, nothing? Yes, son. Dad? Yes, son. Remember yesterday when I said Dad and you said, yes, son, and I said, nothing? Yes, son. Dad? Yes, son. Remember yesterday when I said Dad and you said, yes, son, and I said, nothing? Yes, son. Dad? Yes, son. Nothing. This is a good one. I wrote it 8 years ago. Me. The Overlife. A SWAT team is in a large, bright changing room located on a disused building site in Los Angeles. They are preparing for a raid. The sun shines through a skylight. The light flickers, constantly dazzling everyone as they put on their vests and load their shotguns. The atmosphere is quiet and calm, but the light charges the air with excitement and mysticism. The team are preparing for a raid on the premises of a Mexican gang responsible for making and distributing what Wikipedia calls the most depraved film ever produced. It is called Eating, and the only description Wikipedia provides is children are forced to dog shit. A Google search of the film yields just one result. A badly made website showing a single endless page of the same image over and over again, which is a grey panel, possibly the interior of a lorry trailer. And under each repeat of the image is Wikipedia's one-line description of the film. As is routine among the SWAT team before a bust, a package of cocaine is passed around. Everyone who is handed the package, they sniff a small mound of powder off the skin flange between their thumb and forefinger. When handed the package, the rookie with long, straggly brown hair and wide brown eyes, he asks the SWAT team leader if he can buy a gram for his own personal use. No, he is told. Take what you're given, and only that. The rookie smiles and shakes his head. What keeps you on the street and off the street? I'll never know. The rookie does his apportioned bump of cocaine, hands the package to a teammate, and he breezes into the gymnasium adjoining the changing room. 4 people silently follow him. The last one closes the door behind him. Chairs are scattered in the middle of the gymnasium. Everyone sits and closes their eyes. The rookie, with the long, straggly brown hair and wide brown eyes, leads a small gathering of believers to a prayer. Dear Lord, on this fine, glorious day in Los Angeles, please let us realize that this is not the underlife we are in. It is the overlife. Steve Jobs, robot on. The robot that knew too much. Yeah. Yes, apostrophe and 3 stars. Robot. Robot on. The Ocean Steve Jobs. The Microsoft Corporation and Steve Jobs. Plane San Francisco. The Brain. R Valley Remoto. Bill Gates' Espresso. Headline. Billy Ocean to judge American Idolo. And the Ruskies. Roboto. Train shot Espresso. And Gates killed Steve-O. I will sing about it on American Idol. Corn Cobs. The Brain Judge Jobs. Billy Valley Wedding Gates Idol. White Russian headline. Micro Bed Soft. Silicon Steve shot Bill. Fan San Frisco. Robot off Apple. The Quake. I exist between clicks. Linda was drunk. An earthquake in Indonesia killed 200 people. Linda watched the devastation and misery on the screen. But in the back of her mind came an inappropriate thought. I'm a bad person, she thought to herself, shaking her head. That's what it is. She took a big gulp of the red wine and lowered her laptop screen. The room was silent except for buzzing in her ears. She heard the door creak open. She opened her eyes and there was Sweet Corn tentatively entering her realm. Linda wasn't keen on her boyfriend's dog, Sweet Corn. Its fur was patchy and its fleshy goosebump skin was visible underneath. It was always shivering. According to her boyfriend, it had a skin infection. But Linda knew better. It's stress, she told him. What's a dog to be stressed about? Said her boyfriend. The tiny dog jumped onto Linda's lap. She put down a glass and inspected the dog's paws. She made a sad face. Daddy doesn't cut your nails, does he? Linda went drunkenly into the kitchen. In one of the drawers was a pair of handheld branch cutters. The bright green grips operated the blades with a pair of thick coiled metal coils. She took the find into the living room. After putting Sweet Corn back on her lap, she cradled its little panting face and stared into its black eyes. Unlike human nails, Sweet Corn, your nails have nerve endings in them, she said. They're called the quick. She picked up Sweet Corn's right paw and stroked the hooked yellow nails jutting from the knuckles. The nails were pale enough to see how far the quick traveled. It appeared as a red thin line, thinner than a human hair. Linda slid the first nail between the blades of the garden tool. The edges were positioned exactly where the quick ended so the dog wouldn't be harmed. She squeezed the handles together, just enough to get the nail, trap it. It was small but tough. She had to twist her hand a little to gain more leverage. Her hand shook from the effort. Click. The blade snapped together and a 1/4-inch piece of nail flew over the arm of the couch. The dog looked at the window. Probably looking for Brian, thought Linda. Linda held the dog's leg to stop it from escaping while she reached down for a wine glass. She took a big gulp and put it back down. She turned to the second nail. She could see where the quick ended, a centimeter from the tip, but this time she slid the blades down halfway, so she would cut right through it. The dog made its first major wiggle of resistance, but it was trapped and it couldn't get down. Linda felt dizzy, extremely. Her face was burning and her heart was pounding. She closed her eyes and thought about Indonesia. Why do I feel pleasure in the misfortune of others? I know it's wrong. She opened her eyes. Everything was blurry. I exist between clicks. Slideshow. Since my retirement, I've really started enjoying murdering animals. And here's a slideshow. I started off murdering flies, which is what I advise if you're new to murdering animals. I used a ruler to murder flies. I have the patio doors open with the bins next to them so I can get as many flies in the house as possible. And then I squash up to 30 at a time. And then I moved on to murdering better animals. This is a cat I murdered this morning. I jabbed this corkscrew through its stomach. I must remember to return it to the neighbours. The corkscrew, and wash it off, of course. This is a dog I murdered with my 8-year-old daughter. In her company, not with her. We kicked her to death before jabbing a corkscrew in his face. Yes, the same as we did with the cat. Sammy didn't much like murdering animals at first, but now she loves nothing more than spending weekends with Gramps, cruising the streets in my Nissan Versa sedan, looking for stray animals to murder. This here is a sheep we murdered together. We chased it over the farm and beat it to death with a frying pan. Unfortunately, the handle broke off. I must remember to buy Marjorie a new frying pan. She gave you a right earful, I'll tell you. This is a horse we set on fire. And this is a dozen chickens blew up with a nail bomb. And here's a cow we destroyed. Bird murdering is difficult. While I try murdering them in the garden, the buggers always fly away. But if I go up on the roof, I can find the nests, and murder their offspring instead. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this. Why don't you have sex with the corpses of the animals you've just murdered? Well, it's funny you should ask that, because you know that sheep I murdered? Well, after I beat it to death with a frying pan, I did actually have sex with it, anally and orally. I must remember to buy Marjorie a new corkscrew. I made love to that sheep so soundly, it gave me foot and mouth on my cock and balls. Dr. Trev said I must never have sex with an animal corpse until the rashes cleared up. Speaking of Dr. Trev, once a year, him and I like to go big game hunting in Africa, and here's a picture of me. Big game murdering is the most challenging form of animal murder because the animals are just so fucking big. And before you ask, me and Dr. Trev are not gay. However, he does like slamming his fat cock in my mouth after we've murdered an elephant or something. He says it's for good luck. But we're not gay. However, I will regularly insert my throbbing hard cock into Dr. Trev's anus after chasing down a buffalo naked and covered in lubricant before beating it to death with a frying pan. And we do it, why? Because we enjoy feeling the warmth of each other's naked bodies, rubbing up and down each other by the campfire, engaging in a 69, and then we unload our thick, creamy filth into each other's gaping fucking mouths, surrounded with the corpses of murdered animals. We're not gay, though. Dr. Trev's dead now because I murdered him with this ruler. I mostly murder people now. This is Dr. Trev's ground up corpse. Marjorie's gonna cook it up for tonight's dinner. I must remember to have anal sex with my neighbors and kill them and eat them. Well, that's the end of my slideshow. If you'd like my advice on murdering animals or people or whatever, just leave questions in the comment box. What else has changed about me since my retirement? Not much, really. Oh, I've also really started enjoying having sex with children. But that's another slideshow. Your child, your children. You know, your child is so irritating. I want to mush its face against the fridge door with one hand and use my other hand to punch the shit out of your kid's face. And then, maybe then it'll learn to shut the fuck up. Never come to my house with that little shit ever again. Got it? Jesus in hell. Things aren't going too well for Jesus in hell. He lost his flip-flops in a garden center. He couldn't buy a new pair because he was broke. Jesus was fucked 33 hours after arriving in the Big Smoke. I'm going to have to recalibrate my expectations, thought Jesus in hell. There are 7-Elevens everywhere, but not when he needs one. Jesus always looks like he's in a bad mood. Where on earth are all the vegan restaurants? Wanted Jesus in hell. One day he is constipated, the next diarrhea. Jesus has not had a proper bowel movement ever since he's been here. What on earth do they put in these vegetarian Chipotles? Grimaced Jesus in hell. The Wi-Fi in Jesus' motel room doesn't work very well, so he can't check his emails, and his subscription to Microsoft Office has definitely expired. I hope you know how to shovel shit, Jesus, they told him, in hell. Most people find Jesus silly, others say he's a threat. Jesus is an animal in a zoo, or a pet. Why does everybody keep staring at me? Griped Jesus in hell. Nothing makes sense to Jesus. What on earth is a chocolate program? Why is everybody filming everything? What happened to Spudge-alike? It seems to me that this is a psyop designed to keep everybody under the Illuminati's spell, reckoned Jesus, in hell. Jesus fancies himself a bit of a music critic in hell. This music is not gospel, and these lyrics are mired in commercially constructed concepts thoughtless people believe make up the foundation of their existence. This music is rubbish, continued Jesus, and it's simply bad for the soul. I like Tanita Tikaram. I like Curtis Blow. How can you not like the Penguin Cafe Orchestra? Screamed Jesus in hell. And what's with my insatiable appetite for Bassett's All Sorts? What on earth has happened to me? There's cheaper confectionery I could purchase. Am I not what I think I be? And so it is delivered unto Jesus, following a night he can't remember. He awakes brutalized and up in the air. It's not my fault, pleaded Jesus. I didn't mean it, he cried. It's not fair. Jesus in hell.